Well, it was True Confessions on Network TV this morning from Missouri's own Bill Bradley. The Crystal City native and former New Jersey senator rather candidly admitted that, yes, he has smoked marijuana in his lifetime, but Bradley got even with his interviewers.
You have not used any illegal drugs like that?
I've used marijuana several times in my life.
Oh, how can you give George a pass?
I'm from the Falstaff generation.
Now, Bradley is frequently in the news these days since he announced his presidential intentions from his hometown of Crystal City, Missouri, just 11 days ago. This appears to be the first time, though, that the pot smoking issue has been raised with Bradley. Republican hopeful George W. Bush has told reporters it's a non-issue, and he refuses to answer this burning question. No question, though, about what one local politician wants to do. Board of Aldermen President Francis Slay will run for mayor of St. Louis. But as ABC-30's Don Kendrick reports, even though Mayor Clarence Harmon hasn't officially declared his candidacy, the foundation for a race between the two city leaders has been laid long before today's announcement.
That's why I'm here today.
Hurricane Floyd has left behind a watery misery for thousands of people living along several East Coast states. Many people are still without power and fresh water. And in some areas, floodwaters are not expected to crest for days. ABC's Rebecca Chase has the latest.
No one here in North Carolina has ever seen a flood of such disastrous proportion. Rebecca Chase, ABC News, Tarboro, North Carolina.
Dozens of people rolled into Mount Carmel, Texas today to rebuild the Branch Davidian chapel on the very site where it was destroyed in a siege 6 years ago. Workers got started even before the entire convoy was parked. They'll still use the stadium-style seating, and plans do call for a modest chapel, but it will be a lengthy construction job. Crews anticipate 18 months before the site is completed. One builder says the chapel might turn out to be just a tourist stop, but the Davidians say that's okay. Many say the next church is in heaven. Israel barred tens of thousands of Palestinians from crossing into the Jewish state in advance of the holiday of Yom Kippur. The army said the closure would be lifted at midnight Monday after the holiest day of the year for Jews ends. Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, lasts from sundown Sunday to sundown Monday. Jews all over the world mark it by praying and fasting, soul-searching and repenting. They say they are seeking God's forgiveness. The first UN peacekeeping troops have arrived in the war-torn Indonesian province of East Timor. These UN officers will be followed by 7,000 troops from more than a dozen countries. There have been angry demonstrations in Indonesia against both the military and foreign journalists. Although many pro-Indonesian militiamen have been handing in their weapons, some are threatening to return and kill the peacekeepers. Well, it was a big day at the plate for Big Mac. Coming up in sports, the long ball ruled the day for Mark McGuire. But did the Cards capitalize on it? Stay tuned for the highlights.
Where you get more.
Finally tonight, he's known for making fun of musicians and using a little weird behavior to do it. Well, today in Cincinnati, it was no different for Weird Al Yankovic. At an Oktoberfest there, Weird Al led the crowd in the world's largest chicken dance, I sang that a few minutes ago and they didn't like it, by playing the song on the accordion. And the crowd danced and played along on their kazoos. We don't have any up here on the set, but if we did, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'd do it.
He says that he probably would.
They call
Would
him
you?
weird for a reason.
There you go. That's ABC 30 News for now. We thank you for spending part of your Sunday night with us. Keep it right here for The Simpsons coming up next. Have a good night and a great week.
ABC 30's Jean Shepherd is at Fontbonne. In fact, right now she has details. Tell us all about it, Jean.
Well, Patrick, this is a Catholic college, and the students, faculty, and staff are very proud of that crest you see there behind me. But now they may end up having to post flyers all over the campus. It could read something like this: missing a 50-pound baby Jesus statue with manger. The statue's been missing now since early Wednesday morning. Thousands of cars pass through this busy intersection every day, but many people don't even notice the nativity set up on the lawn.
No, I haven't noticed it, and I walk from Whiteout every morning.
But upon close inspection, you'll notice there is no little Lord Jesus asleep in the hay.
My initial reaction was the fact that I couldn't believe somebody would do this.
Sometime in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, somebody absconded with the baby Jesus. Then that night, somebody snatched the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary, too.
But
But about 2:30 in the morning, a campus security guard found the statue of the Virgin Mary laying out here in the middle of Wydown Boulevard. Can you imagine how you'd feel if you ran over her? Well, luckily, nobody did.
We're assuming that since Mary has been returned to us that it was a prank. Up until that point, we didn't know. But the assumption at this point is that it is a prank.
But it's also theft. The statue was worth about $500, but campus officials admit there's not much demand on the black market for a baby Jesus statue. Meantime, students don't think this is very funny.
Just like in every religion, we should hold respect to whatever a person would like to, symbolic-wise or looking towards a higher power. Just leave that intact.
I think it's kind of sad that something like this could happen. It's not really appropriate for this being a Catholic school.
For now, Mary, restored to her dutiful spot in the outdoor nativity, simply folds her hands and waits.
We'd love to have baby Jesus back as soon as possible. Mary and Joseph look a little lonely here.
Prank or not, the Clayton police are treating this very seriously. They're on the lookout for whoever might have done this, and they've alerted Washington University on the off chance that a baby Jesus statue shows up there unexpectedly. If anyone has any information, they're urged to call the Clayton police. Live in Clayton, Jean Shepard, ABC-30 News.
All right, Gene, thank you.
ABC-30's Jean Shepard live outside the plant now with the story. Jean, the picket signs are out.
That's right, Phil. The picket signs are out here, and so are the people walking the picket line. The interesting thing about this is if you talk to these UAW workers out here, they don't exactly know why they're on strike and not in there working on the assembly line right now. Apparently, the talks had been going well among the top 3 U.S. automakers, and it's only the Daimler Chrysler workers who are out on strike tonight. No confirmation from union leaders yet on what the labor issues are that prompted them to walk off, but we do know that this action impacts 2,800 workers at the truck plant and some 4,400 workers at the van assembly plant. Now, the shop leaders at Local 110 and 136 just told those workers to hit the picket line.
That's what they told us to do. That's what we got to do. You know, it's our jobs they're talking about.
I really haven't got anything to say, really. If you want to talk to somebody, or that guy right over there in that 110 jacket, he'll tell you.
It's your job, though.
Well, I got to go along with the rest.
Now, we are told that national negotiations are going on tonight in Auburn, Michigan to try to bring this work stoppage to a quick end. The people that we talked to out here tonight, as I said before, didn't know exactly what the issues are, but one of the key things is the profits that were made last year and who should get the biggest share of those profits. Reporting live in Fenton, Jean Shepard, ABC-30 News.
All right, Jean, thanks for that.
ABC-30's Jean Shepard is in our newsroom right now, and she has more on how it all went today. Jean?
Well, Patrick, after 2 court dates were scrapped, the folks who took part in last July's display of civil disobedience had their day in court today. The city prosecutor, the judge, and a new attorney for the group of protesters worked out a little deal. Instead of a solid line of protesters, they came in small groups today to learn the consequences of their civil disobedience. 124 people were charged with impeding traffic and failure to obey law enforcement when they shut down Interstate 70 to protest the lack of minority contractors on state highway jobs. They did indeed get some concessions from Governor Carnahan and some concessions from a city judge today.
We have achieved another victory. We have decided that we will do 24 hours of community service. There will be no fine and no plea of guilty. And we, as a group, will meet and decide exactly where we're going to put our collective effort for community service.
Attorney Eric Vickers was in court despite the fact that he just got his license to practice law suspended 2 days ago.
I'm a defendant. I'm here on my own behalf.
Vickers turned over all his clients to attorney Randall Cahill.
The judge and the wisdom of the city attorney's office has allowed that to go forward with everyone not being required to pay. We have soldiers out there that have done a wonderful job for the community, people that have stood up, and I think if you invest in the community, that you ought not be charged for that.
Protest organizer Eddie Hassan felt vindicated.
Happy we making progress. You know, we don't get happy until we cross the finish line, and obviously we haven't crossed the finish line, so most certainly we got a ways to go. But we're making progress along those lines.
Noticeably absent from court today was the Reverend Al Sharpton, a prominent figure in last summer's protest. The city attorney says that Sharpton wasn't required to be here because he was represented by an attorney.
The judge ruled today they've got until January 28th to get the community service documented. The same people who organized the protest are going to organize a group civic project. And by the way, Patrick, it has to be something the judge approves. He said it can't be another highway closure. I'm Jean Shepard, live in the newsroom.
All right, Jean, thank you.
This is an ABC-30 News Update.
Good Friday morning to you. I'm Jean Shepard. It's 5 before 9. The Annismark Hotel's in the middle of a federal discrimination lawsuit. The Justice Department alleges that the Annismark discriminated against black patrons in a Florida hotel. The president of Annismark, Fred Kummer of Creve Coeur, says his company has a very good track record with African American employment and hospitality. Kummer says he will cooperate fully with the Justice Department investigation. Restaurant workers in St. Louis County will be required to get the hepatitis A vaccine in order to keep their jobs under a new county ordinance. The Hep A bill calls for food handlers to be vaccinated within 14 days of employment. Yesterday's ordinance comes on the heels of an outbreak of hepatitis in the metro area. At least 88 people have contracted hepatitis. Health officials say they all got exposed at the Market Street Deli. Well, get those ice skates out. Steinberg Ice Skating Rink reopens today after being closed for nearly a month because of a broken motor. And it will be new and improved, a new restaurant, live music, longer hours, and 300 brand new pairs of skates. The rink reopens this morning in just about an hour from now. And it is a pleasant morning outside to ice skate, not too cold. Under sunny skies, our temperature is 42 degrees. The winds are out of the west at 10. Here's how the rest of the day is shaping up. Look for noontime temperature. It will actually dip to 38. Our afternoon high will be 44. Weekend gets off to a cold start. Saturday's high only 35. Mostly cloudy Sunday, though, with a chance for snow flurries late in the day. High of 43. That's our news so far on this Friday morning. Have a great day and a good weekend. From the air, you can see what firefighters had to deal with: several hundred acres of bone-dry trees and underbrush and gusting winds of up to 40 miles per hour.
It's very unpredictable, very unpredictable. It will come out of the north, go out of the south, and then pick up, drop, and you just, last night we had it under control, and as you can see today, it's out of control again.
Firemen say fires like this don't usually occur in November, and they're never this big.
Very uncommon. Usually anywhere from 2 to maybe 20 acres is an average fire for this part of the area.
But this one covered several hundred acres. The smoke so thick you could barely see the sun. The terrain so rough that we had to take an ATV to get to the fire line.
As soon as they give us the word, we'll start heading out.
At this site, there were half a dozen different fire departments.
They've backfired. They made a fire break. And they cut through here to keep this fire from spreading, from jumping.
Now, even though you can still see flames right there, and there are actually limbs still falling from the trees on fire here, the firemen say that this blaze is actually under control right now. That's because right next to it, they have bulldozed a fire break.
Visibly, the flames are about half a mile. The smoke is worse than anything now.
Michelle Sansui was back home this afternoon after being evacuated this morning.
We took out pictures and house papers and car titles and, you know, the things that you can't replace. I'm walking through the house. I said, Mom, how do you pick what you want to keep and what you're going to let burn, you know?
But no houses have burned so far, and firefighters will be out here for at least 2 more days. The suspected cause, either hunters careless with a cigarette or someone burning leaves. In St. Francis County, Jean Shepard, ABC 30 News.